Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Nellie Szilagyi-Benedek, Deputy Director for Education and Programs here at the Jewish Museum. Welcome to this evening's Director's Talk, a program featuring James S. Snyder, Helen Goldsmith Menschel Director, in conversation with artists, authors, performers, and other cultural leaders exploring the role and relevance of art in this moment. These talks offer a forum for dialogue and discourse for audiences of diverse backgrounds and perspectives, all of whom nonetheless embrace the Jewish Museum as a setting for learning and engagement. The Director's Talks are part of the Morris W. Offutt Lecture Series made possible by the Jack Joseph and Morton Mandel Foundation. We are extremely grateful for this support. Tonight, James Snyder will be in conversation with Ohad Naharin, the house choreographer of Batsheva Dance Company and creator of the Gaga movement language and some of the most beautiful, moving, and powerful dance works. Ohad Naharin joined Batsheva Dance Company in 1974. During his first year, guest choreographer Martha Graham invited him to join her own company in New York. From 1980 until 1990, he presented works in New York and abroad, including pieces for Batsheva Dance Company, the Kibbutz Contemporary Dance Company, and Netherlands Dance Theater. In 1990, he was appointed artistic director of Batsheva Dance Company, and in the same year, established the company's junior division, Batsheva, the Young Ensemble. After almost 30 years of leading Batsheva, Naharin stepped down as artistic director in 2018 and continues to serve as the company's house choreographer. In addition to his stage work, he developed Gaga, an innovative movement language based on research into heightening sensation and imagination, becoming aware of form, finding new movement habits, and going beyond familiar limits. Naharin's work has also been featured in several films, including Mr. Gaga, a comprehensive documentary about him, which was screened at our own New York Jewish Film Festival in 2017. We are so pleased to welcome Ohad Naharin to this evening's conversation with James Snyder. I would like to remind everyone to please turn off your cell phones and refrain from recording during tonight's program. And now, please join me in welcoming our speakers.
Good evening to all of you. Really, first, where did that Nellie go? There she is. She always slinks off into the darkness. Nellie, stand up so that everyone can applaud. Nellie has been shepherding this Director's Talk series since we started it in the spring following October 7. And you heard Nellie refer to how we felt after October 7 that we really needed to have a kind of action plan in place so that we could make clear that our purpose in these complex times was to look at the world through a cultural lens and not shirk from relating to complexity, but being very attentive to focusing not politically, but rather socially and culturally, because we're a museum, and this is what museums are meant to be about. And you all might remember that shortly after October 7, we delivered a very strong message about the importance of preserving humanism, and that museums exist to be the custodians of the history of world culture from the beginning of time to the present. And without humanism, you have no history of world culture, or there is no point in reflecting on that history. Very important for all museums to be doing this in these times. We felt that it was especially important for this museum to fashion itself as a platform for engagement and as a model for activism culturally to find a path to a brighter time ahead. And this is 2+ years ago, and this is the beginning of the third round of this series, and times are not yet brighter, so it makes it that much more important for us to continue doing this. I have to say, I wish all of you were sitting up here. The room is packed. we've been doing these talks. As I said, this is the start of the third round of these talks. And we do fill the house, but tonight, actually, we've packed the house. If you turn around, this is a sellout. This room is full. This is the highest attendance we've had for any talk in this series. Now, of course, part of the reason is the subject of the talk and the guest with whom I'm having the privilege to do this conversation. But it means a huge amount to pack the house here. And I thought, it's the first week after New Year's, it's Thursday night, it's winter. Are we going to get anybody in the room? Well, the room is full, and we're grateful to all of you for that. We're also grateful to Debbie Goodman Davis, who really leads the World Friends of Batsheva Dance Company, and phoned me and said, would you like to do a talk with Ohad? Well, I've had the privilege to do talks with Ohad before, and each time it's thrilling. And you'll understand why as our conversation gets underway. And so, Debbie, really a lot of thanks to you. Now, this is also, it's been a watershed moment for us in the museum. I trust that all of you have been through our new galleries, which we opened only a few months ago, where we really focus on telling a new narrative for the collections of this museum, and not to focus too much on October 7, but feeling after that date that it was very important to demonstrate how you could tell the story of Jewish world culture in a new way, in a different way. And for us, it's now about telling the story of 3,500 years of Jewish culture in the global diaspora, resonating with all the cultures around it, so that the story isn't about segregation or isolation. It's about resonance and integration with cultures around you, and also to make the point that not just our Jewish museum or Jewish museums or museums generally, but all museums collect. And we preserve our collections, and it's for a purpose, and the purpose needs to be for teaching and learning. And at this particular moment in time, when the world is being overtaken by, polarization, ignorance, xenophobia, we felt that it would be very important for this museum to make a statement about having its collections so as to aspire to enlightenment, putting Jewish culture in the context of the rest of the world, and so that it's understood that not just ours, but any other specific culture that exists in the global diaspora exists through a resonance with everything around it. We did it very quickly. We finished it just a few months ago. Ohad's only here for a very short period of time, and he arrived early enough to do the 3,500-year story before we came to this room to sit down together. But I hope and trust that all of you have already seen these galleries. If not, come back soon to do so. All of which brings me to this moment. And there's a particular excitement for me to do this talk with Ohad. We have done it before. We met after Tina and I moved to Israel when I took on the charge of running the Israel Museum in Jerusalem. And really, our experience and our lives there resonated in so many ways with Ohad and what his work is about, that to have him come to the Jewish Museum in these few months after this reshaping of the narrative of our own museum has especially special meaning for me. Tina and I really, in Israel, had the opportunity to experience the premiere of many of Ohad's productions in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. It's like you hang a picture in one place, it looks one way. You hang it somewhere else, it looks totally different. And we often had the opportunity to see his new productions in two different settings, seeing them resonate with each of those settings. And that was also always a thrill. We are eager to see his newest production, Zoe. I've seen some clips about it. It's about many things. It's about synthesis and resonance, the way that we feel it's so important to look at material culture and the history of material culture. In this case, bringing together language, voice, movement, and giving a resonance to all of them. So for me, it means a lot to have Ohad here with us tonight. You know, we got to Israel, and I hadn't thought about it before, but I looked around and I thought, there is dance everywhere here. And I would often ask everyone, why is there so much dance in Israel? Why is there so much dance in the Middle East? And, you know, is it dance because it's ritual? Is it dance because it's religious? Because it's ethnographic? And this was always on my mind. And then, you know, I met this guy, and it was like a beeline to him to be the answer to all of those questions. And, you know, Nelly gave Ohad's biography a bit, and we know that he became a dancer. He was already kind of a grown-up, a kid grown-up, right? You were around 22 when you came to dance. You started at Batsheva. Martha Graham appeared out of nowhere, brought you to New York in '75, and just to underscore the resonance between us, that's when I came to MoMA from school. I don't know why we didn't meet then. But this guy was in New York. He came here to be with Martha Graham. He went on to Alvin Ailey. He went back to Israel. Batsheva happened. His nearly 30 years of leading the charge there, and still today being choreographer there. So we do need to hear your applause, because it is an unbelievably special privilege for you to be here. So enough from me. You got to tell us, what took you to dance?
Good evening. What took me to dance? Actually, it wasn't 22. 22 was the age where I officially started training, but I danced since I remember myself. What took me there? My mother, my father, they were both creators in many fields: writing, sculpture, movement, writing, poetry, music. It was around me. And we learn by copying. Most of what we know is because we copy it from others, and then we make it our own. And luckily, I had good things to copy from with my parents. And one of the things that I copy, I guess, was dancing. My mother was a very gifted dancer and also a choreographer. So it wasn't about the training that started very late, but it was about the joy of dance that was there, the curiosity, the discovering the connection between my body and outside elements, observing other people, animals, nature, effort, speed, small gestures. It was all something that I grew up with and enjoying. So, and that was also connected a lot to the love of music. Though you don't need music to dance, you can dance in silence. But there was a connection because there was a lot of music at home.
You know, if you see the documentary, Mr. Gaga, you do see this incredible film footage of you dancing as a kid. And when you look at it, you don't, the viewer doesn't see you as someone who wants to become a dancer. the viewer sees you as someone who's embracing everything. You're embracing everything around you. So that spirit was with you from day one.
By the way, I did not dance in Alvinelli. I just want to correct it.
You have to then correct all those sources. Were you invited to go there? Because
No.
this was actually a later question that I have for you. But I can go to it now, actually, which is that, you know, you were dancing here with Batsheva. How did Martha Graham single you out? Why did she come to you and say, forget this, come with me, come to New York, the center then of the dance world?
Today, the reason I'm in New York is because we're conducting a Gaga, we call it Gaga Lab. We have two venues. We have Gaga for dancers, and we also have Gaga for people that don't have the ambition to be dancers or performers, but we still like to experiment the language. And today, after the session that I made with the dancers, we also had a half-hour talk where people can ask questions. So one of the questions someone asked was, do I have a favorite color? Maybe I should talk about that. No, there's something about talking about my bio, what happened, why did Martha Graham single me out, all of this. I'm going to fall asleep. So, let's go on.
Well, the next question relates, though, because
What's my favorite color?
he's wearing it. But think about this. Think about this. You know, it was the dance capital of the world. Martha Graham took you. You don't have to tell us why, but you came here. And after a certain amount of time, you consciously took yourself back to Israel. And, you know, as I said, for me, we get to Israel and there's dance everywhere. And I'm wondering how those two questions come together. Was it our perception, or it's the case that there's dance everywhere there? And where did it come from that it's everywhere? And is that part of what pulled you back?
Actually, well, the beauty of dance for me is not a relationship to any geographic or culture or ethnic group. So it's true that there is a lot of dance in Israel. But what makes it unique is that it's our body, and it's prehistorical, and that the fact that we can all dance, we can all move. At the same time, many of us feel that we are locked inside our body. Will you admit that you feel that? Can you raise your hand if you feel
Show
that?
of hands.
If you feel that you're locked inside your body? And how beautiful it is that it's the same body that we feel locked inside can also release us out of this jail with movement. So a lot of the research I've done connect to how movement can help us deal with what is difficult. And I think maybe people dance in Israel because it's very difficult in Israel. You know, maybe. I don't have an answer for this. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that there's a lot of dance. Why is it happening in Israel? Sometimes I think maybe also because Israel is a place for people who came from many, many different countries. And dance can be more like a common language for people who don't speak the other people's languages, but can they speak the language of dance. And also maybe because Israel is an old country, but a very young culture. It's a young country. It's 70-something years old, with no real history of opera or ballet, or it's fresh and new. And it also have this, in this sense, you have a lot of room. It's void, and room and void is a great place to dance in.
You know, just listening to you, you really, you understand a connection that we have, which is how dance and visual art have so many dimensions in common. And when you ask for a show of hands about who feels that they're locked in their bodies and who feels that he or she can't dance, and it's like when you're a kid and you're afraid that you can't draw, and you think that you can't draw, and an art teacher says, sit down, you can draw, everyone can draw. And with you, this is that story. And I mean, you invented Gaga, which we'll get to in a little bit, for the same reason. It's to demonstrate that everyone can dance. And you know, your comment about perhaps there is so much dance in Israel because of the challenges of life there, and dance gives you an opportunity to connect with yourself and give an expression to yourself. And that people come from everywhere. You know, it's like a place where foreigners everywhere, everyone's a foreigner. And you come with all these different expressions that relate to yourself, but you bring them together by something like dance. Speak to that.
You know, when I meet people in a classroom, I meet people who dance with me for 10 years, and I meet people who came to dance with me for the first day. And we don't divide them by levels or experience. We meet them at the moment. It's how we can get groovy. Because to get groovy, you don't need to dance, but you want to feel that you are at the moment. If we are now just feeling that we're at the moment, we're already groovy. And so this is something that connects us in the room right here and also in the dance class. And you say, I invented Gaga. I feel I discovered Gaga. I feel that the way I put it together, maybe it's inventive, but what I put together is a discovery of something that exists. If I discover how to use gravity, or how to use the flow of information, how to use the yielding and letting go and explosive power, how I use the virtue of lightness and being able to laugh at myself, how I feel that movement, to be moving, it doesn't mean that you are ignited. You can be sitting in a car and move very fast, because we can agree that moving is basically changing location of our body parts, right? So we can move a lot without doing any good. So that when we say dance, for me, dance is not just about movement, because we can, even if we are in our seat, can you just shift a little bit from side to side? So right now, your head is riding the movement, but is not active. Your shoulders are just riding the movement of your pelvis, and they're not active. So we can move a lot and do very little. So a lot of my research is about how to ignite our body, and how to use the power of imagination and connect it to our passion and build up skills. And it's not just as dancers, it's people, as the animal we are, that can think and create and imagine and learn. Did I speak about it?
You did, and you also revealed part of what your genius is. Even when you said I didn't invent Gaga, I discovered it. It's like you excavated within yourself, seeing how people can excavate within themselves. And okay, Gaga happened, but put that aside for the moment. Over 30 years, you invented all kinds of vocabularies in dance, and this is where your genius is, because you see in movements choreography. And we're going to show a clip for a couple of minutes just because it's kind of an anthology of 30 years of different vocabularies that you have shaped. I won't say invented, that you've shaped based on your perception of how people move. Let's watch this. How does it make you feel to look at a 2-minute anthology of all these different vocabularies you have made over time?
The first thing and the main thought I had was that this piece of music that's follow is from Sadeh 21, and we're renewing it now. And the production or label company of this music refusing the use of it for now, for us. That's what I was thinking. That, and
we're going to get to that subject as well, but stick with the artistic side.
No, but that's what I was thinking.
Well, look, let me say that when I saw this, when you sent it to me, I really... It is so moving remembering seeing many of these productions. Some not in their first round, but you know, Ohad Naharin, the first time I saw it, and you've all seen it, it is so profoundly moving because, you know, it connects Jewish heritage to the trauma of its moment. And then I remember the controversy of when you were supposed to perform it for a milestone year in Israel, and you declined to do so. it's so filled with the kind of heaviness of the moment, but also so grounded in the heritage of all these people. How does it make you feel to know that people respond to this work in this way?
A lot of what I do, it is about sharing. When I think, for example, about the last piece that I've just did, it's called Zo. Zo. It means elephant in Japanese. It's like there's always an elephant in the room, and there's a big elephant in our collective room. And this last piece was a lot about kind of, I used to feel very clear about the collective and then the individual, and it was very separate from me. But if I think about the last recent couple of years, something that I feel different is how it's become more mixed. And something about what you ask about, what does it make me feel, that this piece, for the first time, I think, in a process of creation, and each piece have a different playground and different rules, codes, and new discoveries. And in this piece, it was very important for the work to meet its audience. Usually I finish a process and I can do it in an empty room without audience, and I can feel that I've experienced the work. I can feel that the dancers experienced the work. And in this piece, it needed the audience. It was really not until the dancers met the people, and this piece is in a specific setting where the audience sitting around the piece. It's only then that I felt that all the elements of the work were placed together in the right tension. And so your question made me think about this relationship that I have, the people that experience my work. And at the same time, it's always an individual. You know, it's never the audience, but it's individual, and each individual who able to experience it differently. And many times, you know, it's actually me who watching the work. It's so. I want the audience. I want you, each one of you, to first maybe understand my language before you dislike, before you form an opinion, is that you understand. And my work is about dance language. It has a narrative, but the narrative of my work comes from texture, from chaos, from organizations, from speed, from the bodies of the dancers. So, Ohad Naharin, for example, this piece that many of you maybe have seen, for me it's not about Jewish heritage. It's not about a message about Jewish heritage or about God or religious. It's about accumulation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're going down. And so this is a piece about accumulation. And the language of this piece can be communicated everywhere in the world that understand the accumulation aspect of this piece. You don't need to know the song, you don't need to know the Passover history of the song, but you need to understand that it is about accumulation. And if all you react to it is because, this is what we sing in Passover, and you're actually missing completely the idea of accumulation in the piece, I cannot communicate with you.
You know, and this comes back to your genius, because there's like something very explicit in a lot of your work, but the meaning is really subliminal. So it's what you say about seeing people and seeing the movement in their body. It's like what they're wearing, but it's also what's happening inside them while they're relating to your work. And that's what gives it such power.
Yeah, I think in Gaga, what I'm really interested, I call it, is the research of the essence of dance, not the style of dance. And this is something I said to people many times, is that there are many different styles of dance. And I like to appear as though as I have no style. Because we can agree that a style is a way of representing something. You know, we have a particular way we eat. Some people eat with a chopstick, some people eat with their hands, some people eat with a spoon and fork. But what important is what we eat, not how we eat. So we can think of the food as the essence. And the way we eat it is the style. So I'm curious, what is the essence of dance? It's not how we represent it, but what is it? And this is constantly what I'm looking for with my dancers, as with our own body, is what is the essence. And what is the essence? So the essence is we can peel ourselves off what kind of music we dance to, where is our fingers when we dance in a particular, what it's not the way we represent, is what it is in the essence of our body, and how we connect the animal we are. And I said it already, how we connect the animal we are. And we're not another animal. You know, sometimes people ask you what kind of animal you think you are, and you will say, I'm a snake, or I'm a cat. No, I'm talking about us, the human animal we are, that we got the gift to imagine, and we got a gift to remember and to learn, and we got a gift to move. And I think I really choreograph because I like to play. I like the playground that choreography give me.
You know, if you watch Mr. Gaga in the early film footage of you as a kid, and I already said it, it's like you're playing out there. You're playing, you're making dance, but it's play. That was with you at the beginning.
It's true, but in the beginning I played, but you know, when you play a game, you need to know the codes and the rules. If you play basketball, you know you can only do 2 steps before you get rid of the ball, otherwise, or you have 5 people, and you know the rule of the game. And I didn't know so much the rule of my game. So in all of my works and all of my process, I invest a lot in creating the codes and the rules of what is this that I'm playing. And one of the reason each work can be different from each other, because it can have different codes. I don't have to change why I choreograph, I have to change the codes of the particular playground I invent for each process. Yeah.
And you know, it's like, it's explicit and subliminal at the same time. That's what you're talking about. And you say that you don't have a style, but actually, just looking at the 2-minute anthology, there is a signature to the movement of your dance from one production to another. We know that this is Ohad Naharin when we're looking at it. And I before you answer, I want to add to that, because we've spoken earlier about the Israeliness of dance. And is that part of what I just described? And if you look at your dancers, parse your dancers, those aren't all Israelis. Those are people coming from everywhere to dance with you.
Yes, you know, I can find something in common with people from very different countries and find no common ground with some people that I grew up with in the kibbutz I was born. So the Israeli, or even the background, play very little role in the why I dance, how we dance, why I'm attracted to certain people. And that's the beauty, I think, first of all, of maybe humanity and human qualities, that we connect not through our nationalistic and religious and ethnic connotation, but we connect through, you know, ethics and beauty and love and creativity. So when you talk about Israeli dance, it doesn't describe quality, it describes quantity maybe. America, New York especially, is a place where a lot of dance was created and influenced Me Too and entire dance community in the world. And I think one of the reasons it succeeded to do that is because it didn't feel it was American. It was individuals. Merce Cunningham was individual. Martha Graham was individual. Balanchine, a Russian actually, individual. It's not about nationalistic connotation at all. It's about the individual who happen to live in a country.
And you know, it's about universalizing. This is what you're describing.
It is universalize it, but even more personalize it.
And that's the genius of it, because it does both. And you know, I want to come back, and again, looking at this anthology, your work, we live in times of trauma, not just today, but at many different times over the 30 years of that anthology. And sometimes your work does relate, it sort of springs from the trauma of a particular moment, a particular political moment, a socio-political moment. And that makes exactitude to its timing, but the meaning of it is not about that. The meaning of it is what you've just described, about how an individual responds to that trauma and how you can use dance to express that response.
Yes, because, you know, you don't have to be a citizen of a country that is torn by wars. You can be living in a very quiet village in Switzerland and can be tortured by your parents or neighbor. And you can be traumatized 100 times more than how I brought up, even though I brought up in a very violent geographic region. So strong feelings, huge feelings, sense of loss, love, beauty, abuse of power. Don't connect to what's going on, particularly in any place in the world. We can all witnessing it or experiencing it, doesn't matter where we are.
And it can spring from a moment, but that's not how you identify it in the dance that you make from it. You know, let's speak to the moment that we're in now, you know, in this period after October 7, and not just to focus on October 7, it's like the state of the world. For the next piece that you create, do you feel that it is going to be responsive to the challenges of this moment that we're in?
Well, but first of all, it will be a continuation of my research as a choreographer and a dance maker. And it will reflect what it is that I'm discovering with my dancers at the moment. Also, you know, October 7, as horrible as it was Is it just an ongoing cycle of violence that I'm witnessing in my country for all the 73 years that I live? And if you take things out of context, and that's what people do, then they can speak about October 7 as a beginning or a point in history. But in the context of things, it's just one more horrible event. So in my work, I don't try to reflect the reality. What I try to create is the reality of the work, the universe of the, I'm interested in the universe that is the work itself. And the work is about itself. And people watch it, they can then reflect on their own reality. And people from different countries, different history, and even from the same country can relate to it differently because of their own personal experience. I'm not inflicted on you a mirror of your reality, of a reality. That's not interesting for me. I'm interested in creating a place that I've never been before in my work. But it can connect you, like Ohad Naharin can connect you to your heritage. And you know, we did the Ohad Naharin in Japan, and someone asked me if it's about Wall Street.
And what was your answer?
I think I said yes.
I was going to say your answer probably was it can be about Wall Street.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel, look, this is the romance in me, do you feel that dance can help get us on a path that will take us away from the trauma of the moment to a brighter time?
I think dance, like creative forces, is a pillar in times where things are harsh and difficult. But I think everybody can dance. Also a mass murderer can dance, you know. So it's not like dance is going to take us into a better place. I think it's a, you know, it's an awareness. You know, it's a knowledge of, you must understand, know, that there's no future for Israel without the future of the Palestinian people. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a real fact. Now, I'm lucky to know that fact. Many people don't know that fact. And they think they can have a future for Israel without a future for the Palestinian, and that's false. So dance is not going to help it. Then acknowledging that fact will help it.
And I think in your work, part of your goal is that dance gives you an awareness, a self-awareness and an awareness. So it's about what you're seeing and how you're responding from within yourself to what you see.
Very good.
You know, we will wrap up, and when we do, we'll be here and come up and talk to us. But you know, I need to say that having known you for a while, you are a very private and in a way introverted person, and yet you're willing to sit up here and have a conversation in front of a lot of people, or you were willing to do Mr. Gaga, really revealing your life story. And is that a trauma for you? And is dance sort of, is making dance, creating dance, a kind of antidote for you to your own introversion?
Well, Mr. Gaga was done by Tomer Hyman, a director, film director, that I knew him first when he was a waiter in a restaurant I used to go, and then when he was dating dancers from the company. And then when I saw his first early works, and he became a friend and someone that I was, and when he came to me about Mr. Gaga, I already knew him and the body of his work. And I felt that I was in his service. I didn't care to do a movie about me, and I still don't care. In a way, I don't like to be documented. It's embarrassing, and also because what is documented, I like a lot to change my habits, my mind, and what I say a year ago. And there are a lot of moments like this in Mr. Gaga that embarrasses me. But I was at his service, and I let him do it because I think he's a good filmmaker, and I wanted to help him. And yeah, he was around like for, I don't know, 9 years. Yeah.
But you know, when you see the film, it actually, to me, first time I saw it, it felt like it was a way to unlock the mystery of what your dance was about and why it was so powerful, why seeing your work was so powerful. And it wasn't about whatever is explicit about it, it's what comes subliminally from it that gets inside you as a viewer, as a witness to it. And you know, if you're looking ahead, it is a crazy time that we're in. And you know, we don't talk politics here, but we're in this moment where, as you said, you can't use your own music. You can't use your music. If you perform somewhere, there might be a protest outside. There are places where you can't perform right now. Does it frustrate you to think that those kinds of political intrusions are keeping you from producing your work and having it carry the meaning you want it to carry?
Well, luckily, the protests, the boycotts, the cancellations didn't stop us from our research, didn't stop us from performing, from creating. We continue. We just didn't tour. Sometime we had to rewrite new music when a composer didn't allow his, like Brian Eno, which is a great musician, forbidden me to use his music, and I used his music in a couple of my works. So I asked a friend of mine, a composer, to rewrite music. I'm sad about the state of things, but I'm not the victim of it at all. Not at all. It's, for me, this is boycott, cancellation, refusal, are storm, I call it storms in the bottle. I feel very fortunate for what life has given to me. I can still create and work and discover. It's a pity that people would put energy and would isolate artists like me as people, you know, like now we do the Gaga workshop in Mark Morris studio, and we have people are calling to boycott it. And the reason actually I came to New York to do it, usually I don't come to do the Gaga workshop, but I came because of very strong voices inside the Mark Morris and outside, and there's a group called Dance for Palestine that are threatening, and so I decided to come to support the project. You know, I'm an artist in Israel, and I'm many times subject in Israel to criticism and a threat actually to boycott from within. Our Minister of Culture wanted to cut our funds. Is it okay to talk about it?
Yes, no. It's very good. It's very good for you to do that one point.
So there is a piece that I use the flags from 25 countries, And it was also used the flag, the Palestinian flag, which is the legitimate flag. It's not a, it's a flag of a country, of a state, Palestinian state. And he had never seen the piece. Just someone sent him a photo of this one flag, the Palestinian. And he threatened to cut the funds from the company, where this section itself in the piece, it's about reconciliation. It's about the absurdity of national strong feelings that can create violence and abuse of power. And it's actually very, it has a lot of beauty that comes out of all the colors of the flag. And all those flags, when you turn them, they're all kind of off-white. They become one color. And I'm playing with colors and rhythm, and also the basic of the idea is the ridiculous sentimental that we can develop to a flag and willing to do so much harm because of it. So this is what it's about. And so artists can become also victims of calls for boycott and inside their countries. And they should be protected, and that should be, so it's not just outside of my country that I'm facing a call for boycott. And still, it's a storm in a bottle.
You've answered the question I asked before that you avoided, which is exactly what you've just described is how dance and the arts and culture broadly can open a path to a brighter time. And this is why, our people have been around in the diaspora for 3,500 years because of resilience. And what you've just described captures the resilience of what all of your work is about. And I have to thank you for coming for the workshop at Mark Morris, because it gave us the chance to sit here and have this conversation and for you to make the statement you've just made. So we're going to conclude. I want all of us to applaud and really to thank you, which I do personally as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.